saidia. Bwana Spika, huu ni mswada ambao uko na maana sana. Na sisi tunajua, tunaita uwiano, tunajua sote ni wa Kenya. Kenya ikiharibika itakuwa ni nchi yetu. Hatuna nchi nyingine ya kwenda isipokuwa kubaki hapa ndani ya Kenya. Kwa hiyo tunatakiana kila laheri kuona kwamba serikali yetu na watu wetu wa Kenya tumekaa pamoja kama ndugu moja, tuwe na amani, tupendane, tuweze kurejesha nchi yetu katika njia ya amani na mwelekeo. Asante sana Bwana Spika. Naunga mkono.
Honorable Senators, I will now proceed to propose the question. Recognizing the state of the nation at this moment, the ongoing protests following the passing of the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bills number 30 of 2024, on the 25th of June 2024 by the National Assembly, the loss of lives, maiming and loss of property that has been occasioned following these protests, cognizant that pursuant to Article 115(1)(b) of the Constitution, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya declined to assent to the bill and referred it back to the National Assembly with recommendation to delete all clauses of the bill, acknowledging that the conversation on the Finance Bill has triggered the broader important public conversation on the question of the high cost of living, juxtaposed against the wasteful expenditure in all public institutions, including Parliament, further acknowledging the issues raised by the youth and other members of public to do with corruption, impunity, incompetence within state and public appointments, opulence, lifestyles of public officers, unemployment and high cost of living, amongst other issues bedeviling the economy. Now, therefore, the Senate calls upon, 1, the National Assembly to expeditiously consider the Presidential Memorandum pursuant to Article 115(2)(a), 2, all government ministries, departments and agencies and constitutional commissions, including Parliament, to put in place austerity measures in undertaking their respective functions. 3, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and other government multi-sector agencies in the governance, justice, law and order sector to upscale and make concerted effort to fight corruption. And 4, the National Police Service to seize abductions, unlawful arrests, extrajudicial killings, and exercise restraint in dealing with peaceful and unarmed demonstrators. 5, release of all persons arrested for planning and participating in peaceful demonstrations relating to the enactment of the Finance Bill. 6, the government to waive hospital bills for persons who have been injured and defray funeral expenses for those who lost their lives during the demonstrations. And 7, the judiciary to prioritize and expedite all court cases relating to the enactment of the Finance Bill and the resultant demonstrations. 2, considers all the challenges facing the country and makes necessary recommendations to address them. Now the floor is open. I call upon Senator Boni of Kakamega to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, accept my compliments for allowing us to reserve time and place for this very important motion. And Mr. Speaker, allow me to equally compliment the leader of the majority and the leader of my minority for speaking not just from their minds, but especially from their hearts. I never thought in my life that in this house I would listen to the wonderful speech by the young Senator Aaron Cheruiyot. We have been trying to steer this parliament in that direction, and some people wanted to read defiance. No. Listen to the words of the leader of the minority. He is telling the Gen Z that at no time in this parliament have we ever locked anybody from accessing us. They didn't have to lose lives, lose limbs, result in loss of property for them to have an opportunity for a photo session in this house. Every day, the Speaker's Gallery and the public gallery has not only remained open, but it always has people. In fact, there are times, Mr. Speaker, when we are not sitting, the Sergeant at Arms allows people to come and sit in these benches. We didn't have to pay this price. Mr. Speaker, I therefore want to open my remarks by passing my profound, heartfelt condolences to all Kenyans who lost their lives, who were injured, and whose property was destroyed. Mr. Speaker, I specifically missed to sit in this house on Wednesday last week when I should have, because a woman who has been selling me fried groundnuts and oranges in Kakamega, Caroline Shiramba, was shot dead. She sells outside the office of the governor. Mr. Speaker, equally here in Nairobi, a young man from Malinya was shot dead. So these things have come very close. And for those who thought that this was something for a particular set of Kenyans, when I went to visit the victims at the General Hospital in Kakamega, one of the victims was the son of one of my chiefs. He was at the forefront in Kakamega. You saw, even the son of the Attorney General of Kenya was also involved. I saw the son of Honorable my brother Junjuri was involved. I particularly don't know where my children were. Probably they were also involved. The only thing that missed was that they were not captured on camera. Mr. Speaker, where are we? 4 things that are unprecedented have taken place. The first one is that for the first time in the history of this country, the president refused to assent to the finance bill. It is unprecedented. 2, Mr. Speaker, the youth did what they did. Some people call it inversion of parliament. Others call it desegregation of parliament. I don't know what to call it. I can only say they did what they did. Mr. Speaker, never in the history of the 4 presidents we have had in this country have they ever contemplated on deploying the military the way we did. Mr. Speaker, finally, you saw across the whole country members of the public torching homes and properties of elected leaders. We are indeed in a bad place, and therefore, as we say in our community, when you are mourning, you don't mourn with shame. We must speak to it, as I wish to do now. Mr. Speaker, we are where we are today because Kenyans hate and are angry with the ongoings in the country. And if we don't speak to them and take action, we will go nowhere. It was never the finance bill. It was simply that the finance bill was a trigger Why? Because public servants, led by ministers, are very, Mr. Speaker, corrupt. And people hate this, and people are angry. Yesterday, colleagues, I was called by a minister whose name I don't wish to bring on the floor because it's not necessary. And he was very angry with me for the position that I have taken, especially over the weekend in Navajo, over corruption in the cabinet. He told me very many strong and bad things. Because people who the other day we were working with here want to think because the Constitution has given them a different office as opposed to the offices as ourselves we have been given, they are therefore in high heaven, they should be worshipped. Nobody should mention their name, even when they are wrong. Mr. Speaker, people are angry and hate public servants because of our own making. The public display of wealth and opulence, unless members of the public can quickly see where you've gotten it, they will not be happy. Over the weekend, I was speaking of a young member of parliament from my community who has bought a helicopter. And I know him very well. I wish him well to continue accumulating wealth. I wish him well to continue accumulating wealth. But please, I'm asking the president to ask himself, how can the membership of an MP to a committee of parliament be the basis for him to be able to afford some of the things that are not affordable? Honorable Didmus Barasa, take it easy. Those helicopters will not change your life. Mr. Speaker, I equally offended somebody whose name I never mentioned in Kakamega over the weekend about this issue of opulence. I just wondered, how would an MP be able to donate 20 million shillings at a Harambe? He was very offended. In another function, I saw a minister of this government carrying a white bag, on the back like this, and started announcing how many millions are in that bag. Said, Moja, Bailey. No. Mr. Speaker, if we don't refuse these things, people like Murkomen will think that they are giving us their money. It's not their money. Those are proceeds of corruption. This House is saying no. Because of that anger, look at what our children did. Mr. Speaker, people are angry and hate us as leadership